Okay, so in this first box, it explains that on November 20th, which is like now or a couple weeks ago, the Men's Soccer World Cup will begin in Qatar, which it did. The 32 highest ranking teams across the world will compete for the top spot. Ordinarily, there are 6 confederations, and this is how FIFA breaks up the regions of the world. And they normally play within those regions, but with the World Cup, they bring everybody together to one location, and they battle it out on the field. So here's the different regions right here. Not too important. What we're going to be looking at is how the teams are matched and how the tournament is actually set up. So 32 highest ranking teams from these regions. It says Brian thought that 8 groups. Here, let me show you the bracket actually. Here's the bracket, like the original one, and I realize at this point some of this has been narrowed down. But 4 teams are put in a group, and then these 4 teams play and figure out who the top 2 teams are out of that group. So it's saying in this assignment, Brian, whoever Brian is, thought that the 8 groups that play each other at the World Cup were randomly chosen. Does randomly selected 4-team competition seem like a fair way to set up the tournament? Please explain your reasoning. So if they just chose 4 teams and randomly put them in a group and had them play and only the top 2 progressed, would that be fair? Yes or no?
I think it would be. No.
Yeah. So why would you say yes or why would you say no?
I'd say yes, because if you lose the game, the other team's better.
Yeah. So you could say one answer, and you don't have to put yes if you don't believe it's yes. You win, you win. You lose, you lose. You lose, you win, you win. Yeah. Okay, I'll write that. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Go.
Just, it is what it is. Do you think countries would manipulate it? Winner. Oh, wait, I'm not even writing what I'm saying. Okay. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, so what's the argument for no?
That the winner wouldn't actually be the best if the best team didn't get randomly selected.
Right. So, well, yeah, so if these were random and, like, let's say you were put in a bracket with all, like, lower ranking teams, then it would be easier to progress. And then for somebody that was put in a bracket with all high ranking teams, it'd be harder to progress. So that's just luck. But do you think countries would manipulate it? Like, whoever's hosting it, Qatar, could put their team in with an easier bracket and say it's random, right? So the argument to no, and actually my last class had a really good way of wording it. How did they word it? Where did I put the, did somebody get the answer key when I passed it out? I had an answer key somewhere. Oh, here it is, okay. Here's how they worded it in the last, the skill level would also be random and unbalanced. So no, because if they randomly selected the groups, the skill level would also be random and unbalanced.
Why even put like the lower skill people in if they're just gonna get knocked out?
Yeah, they're gonna get knocked out.
Maybe.
Why even
Isn't that the point of competing?
No, yeah, that just doesn't. For me, I'm like, why put the lower ranked in if you know they're just gonna get knocked out? Just do the higher rank.
Well, it's already the top 32, so, I mean, they're already all high ranking.
Yeah, so aren't they all around like the same skill level?
Maybe. I guess we'll find out. Okay. So, actually, the groups aren't randomly chosen. There are 4 pots from which the 32 teams are sorted. Each group, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, gets 1 team from the pot. The teams are ranked by their 2022 world rankings. Then the first pot has the 7 highest ranking teams plus the host country. The second pot has the second 7 and then third and fourth. So if you look at this closely, each country has a number next to it. That's its ranking. So Brazil is number 1, Belgium number 2, France number 3, and Argentina number 4, and so on. So they put all the top ranking teams in pot 1. Then you get slowly worse as you go to the right. So pot 2 would be the second best group, pot 3 would be the third, and pot 4 would be the worst. But not worst because, I mean, it's still all top teams. So then what they do to make these groups that are over here on the bracket, like group A, they take 1 team from each pot. So each group has a best, a second best, third, and fourth, from one from each pot. So it makes it a little bit more even, like each group is pretty evenly. You have a top team, a second, third, and fourth, and then you have the ability to play better than your top team or whatever it is. So that's how it's set up.
I think that's still not kind of fair though.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. Okay, does it make sense so far, how they set it up? Okay, so continuing over here. Finally, the group of 4 teams to compete against one another in the opening World Cup rounds are randomly chosen with one team from each pot in each group. These are the resulting groupings. So these are the groupings for the World Cup that's happening right now. The numbers listed in the bottom row are the total points earned by each of the national teams in each group. So it's some kind of like point ranking system. Each group plays a round robin style tournament. Okay, we get it. Top 2 teams in each group advance to the knockout stage of the World Cup. The strength of the group can be a major factor as to the team advancing to the World Cup. So what we have here is we have this point value here. And what it is it's the point value of each team added up and put into one group. So this group's value is 6,136. This group is valued at 6,502.36. So that being said, these 4 teams together would be a higher skill level than this team, if that makes sense. Or this one would be a lower skill level than both of these combined. Based on those total number of points earned, the bottom rows of the tables, which of the groups should have the toughest draw and how can you tell? So which group would have the toughest competition?
C.
Well, C has a lower point value, so that means those teams aren't as good.
So it'd be harder to compete with the others.
Yeah, so the higher the value, the harder it would be to progress.
Oh, group G.
G has 6,496,
Oh.
and then
Oh, group B.
Group B is even higher than that. Yeah, so these are the point values of all the teams. So that means together, collectively, these teams are better. So it'd be harder to progress in that circumstance.
But it was like a group versus the rest of the groups.
Yeah, yeah.
So the low score would have a tough time.
Yeah, I could see. Well, maybe when they get to, well, I guess we'll see. So in terms of like which group will have the toughest time like progressing, or Group B, it would be the toughest draw. Groups. So how can you tell? Based on the total number of points, which of the groups would have the toughest draw? Group B.
That they're like better.
Yeah, they collectively have the highest score is what I put. I don't know if there's a better way to word that. Okay, and then 3, it says, based on the FICA rankings of each country's team, number in parentheses besides the country's name, does the same group still have the toughest draw? So it wants us to look back at these rankings here and decide whether Group B still has the toughest draw. So if I was to take the ranking for each country, so just taking this, like Qatar is, the ranking's 51, Ecuador, where's Ecuador's rankings? 46. Senegal is,
Can I get a new pencil?
what's that?
Can I get a new pencil?
Yeah. Here. Toss it. Oh, yes. What's that? Yeah, you can. You need to pass. Did it. 2. Glasford is, what's Glasford is 3rd. There you go. You're welcome. Okay, so if you were to write all the rankings, let's see, Senegal is, looking at the other side, 20. I'll trust you. And Netherlands is 10. Okay, so if you were to add this all up, and just kind of glance at my answer key, it comes out to 127. So if you were to add all these up, it comes to 127. Whichever group had the lowest number here, they would have like the top teams in that group. So I know looking at the other page and back and forth is kind of tedious. I already have that done. So just jot down these numbers. So England's number 5, Iran is 21, US 15, and Wales is 18. And so all I'm doing is writing the ranking next to the team.
What is Saudi Arabia's?
19.
Oh, is it 19? I wrote 49 for
Is it
some reason.
49, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 49.
49.
Portugal. Okay, so we just wrote down all the rankings. Now, if we add that up, the group with the lowest score would have the highest ranked teams. So if I add 5 plus 21 plus 15 plus 18, it comes to 59.
What does that mean they would have the highest rating?
So the lower the rank, the better the team, right? So like England being 5 would be
Oh,
like a higher ranking, but it's like a lower number. It's like backwards.
Switzerland is 4.
14.
lowest would be group.
Yeah, so based on the FICA rankings of each country's team. So, by the way, we wrote down the rankings of each of the team. The number that's circled, I added up the rankings. So, the lower this number, the higher those teams are ranked collectively. So, based on the FICA rankings of each country's team, does the same group still have the toughest draw? And yeah, because they are the lowest rank, have the highest rank, which is the lowest number. So, yes. Group B. Still has the toughest draw. Highest ranked teams. Okay, so then it says, based on those total 2022 point sums, which of the top teams have the easiest draw? Okay, so which one is the easiest to progress? It would be Group C. So based on the points, again, not the ranking, based on the points, Group C would have the easiest draw because they're like the 4 worst based on points. So Group C would have the easiest time progressing.
When it says easiest draw, does that mean that they're the worst?
Yeah, it's like the easiest to progress. Yeah, they're the worst teams, which means it's the easiest competition. And it says which top teams. So Group C is Argentina, Saudi. Saudi's been getting a lot of hype lately for like tourism and stuff. Have you noticed that? Mexico and Poland.
I haven't heard of anybody wanting to go to.
Yeah, no, I've seen it on, well, I mean, maybe I see it first because I'm in those like groups and stuff, but. Okay, so then based on the group's ranking, do you see the same prediction? So you'd be looking for the highest number collectively. Do I see the same prediction? No, the easiest group to progress in would be Group A because their rankings add to 127. They're like all lower ranked teams. So does it match? No. Group A is the easiest draw based on ranking. And then right behind it would be Group H. Okay, so based on this, do you think this method for choosing the groups to play in the first round against each other is fair? You can use the team rankings to help you analyze the matchups. Please explain your reasoning. So, do you think this is fair? The way they choose one team from each pot. Maybe it's not perfect, but I think it's as fair as it gets.
Yeah, I think
I'll say
Yeah.
we've also got in Group G, you've got the number 1 going against the 37th. So
Oh yeah, that is weird. Do you think it's whoever chooses it can manipulate it? I definitely think they could.
Or the number 2 versus the 38th in Group F.
Number 2
E
against.
versus 60 in H.
Huh, that's interesting.
I think they're just making it as fair as they can.
Yeah, as fair as it gets.
Because
But I find
they
it.
spread out like all the best like teams across all the best groups, and they're trying to spread out like.
Yeah, they try to.
Because if they have all the best teams in one group, then what's the point of making like a really bad team versus like one of the best teams in the knockout stage? And it's just pointless.
Yeah, because then 2 of the best teams get kicked out. They
Exactly.
have to spread it out.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. I think it definitely could be manipulated, and I find it interesting that like Qatar is in one of the ones that are like easier, and so is Saudi.
But Qatar is also 51, so it's not like.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not that good.
yeah.
Also the host nation.
What's that?
They're also the host nation.
It's the host nation. I wonder if they were choosing it, did they manipulate it to try to make it so Qatar had a better chance? Probably. What's that? Yeah, go ahead. Just take that pass. Or we're almost done. Wait a minute. Okay, choose a team that you would like to root for. And write it down. I don't know.
America.
I'm gonna choose Spain. What can you say after analyzing the group your country will play in? Let's see. Spain has a good chance of progressing, is what I would say. Sports analytics is actually a thing, and you can use it to do some pretty good guessing.
What if you already know your team is the best?
Just pretend. What do you think? Who do you think will win the World Cup? Based on this, I don't know. Brazil. Okay, so what I also have for you is a World Cup bracket that we're each going to fill out and compete to see who can get the most spaces correct. Now, like you mentioned, some of it has already like been decided, like teams have won. As far as each group, oh wait, did you get that down? Everybody good? Okay. So here's the bracket. We're going to be filling this out. Like I said, some of the teams have already won or progressed. How this works is, for example, in Group A, these 4 teams play against each other. I think it's like six games, right? Is that correct? I've been studying. So they play 6 games, and then the top 2 progress. So in this group right here, it was Senegal and the Netherlands. So these 2 got knocked out. And then Netherlands was 1A, the top team, and then Senegal was 1B. And so how this gets filled out is 1A goes here for Netherlands. And then 1B, Senegal, actually goes over here. So it's not normal Senegal.
Ew.
So it goes over here.
That makes sense, looks it. Didn't they already fight and
So they already competed. So this bracket's a little bit different than you normally see. Just for the first, okay. So, yeah, that's how it, so 1A goes here and then 1B. And it's labeled so you know where everything goes. I'm going to pass this out to you, and I'm going to help you fill in all the ones that have already, like, won. Actually, I have it here somewhere. I have one filled out. Okay, so everything in pink has already been decided. So these are all the teams that are progressing to the next round. So when I give you your bracket, you can fill in all the ones I have up here and then continue from here. So for example, you're going to guess whether Netherlands or US wins, and you write down your guess right here. And then you could write down like Australia or whoever you think will win. And then US-Australia will play, and you could guess, okay, US is going to continue to win, and so on. So you'll put your guesses in there. But all the pink have already won, so make sure you get those right at least. And then the rest will be guessing. Cool? Okay, I'm going to pass this out.